Yo, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, man?
Nothing much. It's a Friday. You got a beverage of choice with you?
Yeah, it's the middle of my workday, so
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to, to be set aside for this because I know you're a busy guy. I know that.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers, man. I'm so glad that you were able to do this. So thank you.
Yeah, me too, man. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Just want to give some. Ooh, all right. We got some viewers here. All right. Cool. So, how are you? First of all, nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too,
To
man.
meet you. I guess I've only met you like once, but
yeah, it was for the uninitiated. Everyone except the two of us in this chat. Yeah, Fred and I met like God, it was like 6 or 7 years ago in Philly.
yeah,
Our bands played a show together. So nice to see you again. It's been a long fucking time.
yeah, you too, man. Yeah, you guys brought the fucking heavy ass fucking death hybrid of Drouth to Philadelphia.
That was like the most fun show of that tour, maybe.
Hell
like,
yeah.
That was rad, man. Yeah. I fucking miss playing live. So how am I doing? I'm doing good, man. We just had to, my band, so we just had to cancel a couple of shows this upcoming month, which, you know, it's
Understandable.
That's kind of the thing. And it's a bummer, you know, shit happens though, and we got to be responsible, and it's important. And
yeah, definitely.
But apart from that, you know, we're practicing writing music and shit, and I'm concentrated on work, which is good, you know.
Right.
Just doing the best that I can. How are you, man? How's everything going out there?
Good. Just working like a part-time gig and doing art as much as possible every other hour of the day.
Yeah.
Kind of struggling to figure out just where I want to go with certain things, but I think that's kind of the way that being an artist works. Like, I feel like there's always some sort of hang up that you have, like some sort of hurdle that you have to get over.
Really?
Even as an artist such as yourself, I'm sure you run into some walls every once in a while.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah. So like, I was curious how you might get over those hurdles when you get to that point.
Yeah, I just try to keep going. I don't know. It's tough because like, yeah, we all kind of deal with kind of creative block in our own way.
Sure.
Hi, Mark. And not just ruins in the house. Yeah, you know, we all kind of deal with creative block in our own way. And I think it's important to like, when it comes to art, like just generally speaking, like what works for some people doesn't work for other people. And I think like when people, you know, come on and go like, hey, the right way to do this, the wrong way to do this. And ultimately like, it's about what works for you individually. And like for me, so like what works for me is to just like, you know, it's to draw, like I keep a list of like ideas kind of in my phone when shit comes to me, or like I see a cool thing that I want to refer back to. I'll like take a note on my phone if I'm, you know, at a museum or gallery or whatever, or just randomly online and see some stuff that like I think is cool, and like, oh, I should come back and riff on that theme, you know. I kind of keep a thing, and it's not even necessarily ideas for like a grand scheme of things. It's like literally just shit for me to sketch. I think the note in my phone is like sketchbook ideas, and so I just go back to that, and I'll do a study of something, or I'll like you know, find a whole bean engraving that's cool, and kind of like do a little more, you know, zhuzhed up version of that or something, like kind of go back to shit and like, you know, do a study. If I'm really completely out of shit, you know, if I'm like, man, I have no juice, like I'll just like do a study of something that I think is cool, a painting or something. And I'll kind of do that just to because for me, like the mechanical act of actually drawing is like the thing that it has to start here. And then once like I'm warmed up and once things are going, then like that's how things tend to flow better for me, which is like, again, you know, not necessarily the case for everybody, but it tends to work for me. Cause like a lot of times, I got to shake the rust off. I take a week off to go on vacation or whatever. Yeah. And like, it's hard to jump right back into it. And like doing the work is like, for me, the only way to kind of keep in a creative mindset, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be quite an undertaking that you have so many pieces of artwork that you're cranking out so often. I like there's rarely a time where I don't get on Instagram and see a brand new thing that you've done, whether it's a fucking little sketch that still blows my mind, or it's like a full-on, you know, project for a band and their whole entire, you know, new release campaign. And I'm just wondering, how do you stay on top of like focusing, and like how do you keep consistently putting work out? Like, it's not easy for every artist out there. I can definitely speak for myself when I say I need time to recharge. I have like I need a lot of time to like focus in on what I'm working on, and it's not easy for me to just like pick up and shift gears. But it looks like you've got a gift, as it were, like, to just crank something out. Like, let me ask you this. You said you're in the middle of your workday right now, right?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
what's a typical workday for Matt Stikker? Like, how many hours and how many breaks?
I mean, it depends on what projects I'm working on, and I think like what keeps it fresh, for me, like the cool thing is that I do work on you know, a lot of different things, like you're mentioning, like small to large. The scale of what I'm working on like varies a lot, and the kind of parts of my brain the stuff is using up. If it's like you know, a branding thing or a logo for somebody or something, that's like a totally different part of my brain than like big painting, or doing even like just a smaller piece, larger piece. It all kind of involves, it's easier and harder to kind of jump in and out of stuff. So it kind of depends. Like today I've got a couple things going. I always have a few projects like in the works at once, which is also part of it for me. Like, obviously, you know, like when you're a working artist, you got to keep a certain pace, and you gotta you can't rely on your clients to maintain the pace, because it's like, you know, not everyone's on your schedule, and if you're waiting to finish a piece to move on to the next thing, like you
really don't have control of. But I mean,
so it's like trying to keep like a rolling kind of segment of the work that I'm working on, and like I try not to work, you know, my wife would probably disagree, I try not to work a crazy amount, but like, you know, I'm down here, like I have for myself, like it's actually easier for me now. I've been fully freelance for, you know, about a year now, and before that it was part-time, nights and weekends, and like moving into you know, full-time freelance. It's like all the things that people say about freelance are totally, you know, they're true. You have to be self-motivated, but you have to set a schedule for yourself. You have to like you know, and it's easier. The thing is, like, man, for me, like, I have an easier time getting up, getting the coffee on, sitting down on my computer and answering emails, and getting down and getting to work by 9 o'clock, doing that shit for myself, than I ever have, you know, doing that shit for anybody else, because I'm motivated to do it. And so I'm always coming down, like, I gotta have my pot of coffee, gotta get that in me first thing, and then it's like, I try to get the bullshit out of the way first, you know, following up with stuff on emails and talking to clients and getting that kind of office kind of stuff out of the way. And then like I will usually work on a couple of things. It's pretty rare that I spend a whole day working uninterrupted on one big piece, and that's only if I'm really
you want to keep things interesting, I'm sure.
Yeah, and after 4 or 5 hours, like sometimes you just need a break. You need to like, you know, just take a little bit of a change and move on to something else. So like because I usually have stuff in various stages, maybe I have something that's a couple of things that are just a sketch where I'm still exploring the ideas with the client, a couple of things that are, you know, working on the pencil, working on the ink, working on coloring, you know, cleaning things up. So it's like I always have something that I'm starting, and then I have something that I'm kind of finishing. So it helps. That's really helpful to like a couple times a week get that dopamine hit of like sending off the final files and being like done, you know, sending out the invoice and being like, all right, I'm done with that. And that kind of maintaining a rhythm is like of having that kind of regularity is what keeps me on like on a weekly basis, like keeps my, you know, shit rolling forward. But like I take breaks when I can. I go to the post office, I run errands, I take care of dumb shit during the day, and then like maybe my work day lasts until 8 or 9 p.m. So I'm like, my work day is like, you know, 12 or 13 hours, but it's also with like a 2-hour break and like a 2-hour break for this. And like, so I try to like you know,
Yeah,
not
yeah, I
not burn
hear
myself
you.
out, you know.
So did you go to school for drawing? Did you take a lot of anatomy classes? I always kind of ask my guests because there are some people that have prominent anatomy skills in their work, like you can see it, and I feel as though it's not crazy to say that you definitely have a very good understanding of anatomy, hands, faces, like expressions,
Thanks, man.
like yeah, like where did that come from? Did you?
I mean, that is pretty much that kind of stuff is all, you know, independent study. That's all kind
Really?
of just me. Yeah, I mean, I took some drawing classes, you know, figure drawing and stuff like that, you know, in college.
Okay.
Um, but I didn't. I don't have a degree. I have a graphic design degree.
Oh, okay.
Um, so a
That's
lot
still
of
got to be
the
helpful for everything.
oh, absolutely. So yeah, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like because it's half and half the way that I do shit and the clients that I have. A lot, you know, being able to take that knowledge and like apply it to like I know how to get something print ready, you know, and basically
Yeah,
be able to take a project all the way to the finish line
big
enables
deal.
me to work with a class of clients that expect shit to
Right.
be ready and finished and done, and to work on projects that branding projects and stuff that like, you know, maybe aren't like the most flashy or the coolest shit for my portfolio,
Sure,
but
but
like pay good and like keep the you know keep funding the rest of the stuff that I do, and it's still fun and it exercises a different part of my brain and shit. So like
yeah,
having the graphic design skills translated really well, and like for a lot
awesome.
of artists that's a thing that I think is really important. Like um, Mark, I went to I went to Art Institute for graphic design, which is now defunct in Portland, but it actually I had a decent experience there, and I think it was I had some good instructors, fortunately, and it was valuable. And I think for a lot of people that you know for profit institutions like that are a complete fucking scam and a waste of time. But for me, it did work out really well, partly because I went back when I was in my 20s, and I was really motivated at that point to learn, so I was getting the most out of it that I could.
That's
Um,
awesome, man.
and I
Not
think
it's
for
not everybody that can say that for sure. I feel
yeah, I
like
mean, I think for a lot of artists, like that's the biggest thing is like learning some of those skills are really important. And I've spent a lot of time because I got that kind of classroom instruction. I could focus like in
yeah,
on my own. On like man, like there's people who like man, you want to look at people who know figure Bernie Bat Dog. Everyone here who isn't following Bat Dog right now, or you know when we're done, go follow that dude because he's fucking unbelievable. The dude is like a classical master, and there's dudes. I mean, obviously, tons of people out there who are really good and really keeping the bar really high. And I see
yeah,
that, and I'm motivated to keep you know keep my study up and kind of like keep learning. I'm always learning, and especially with the human figure, that's like the toughest thing there is to draw. So
yeah.
trying to really focus on that shit is important. And then for other artists, like you can spend time you know you can spend a lot of time working on your the art component the technical drawing component of
Right.
what you do, but like it's so important that also you know how to like scan stuff and clean it up, and if you want to work with bands like that it's not you're not just sending them like a raw scan of your you know work and you kind of don't you know
Yeah,
like be able to at a bare minimum like present a finished polished. Thanks, Mark.
absolutely.
And part of that, like Mark is saying right now with the non-photo pencil, like that's my technique for which maybe
Yeah,
you
I
were
wanted
planning
to
on
talk to you
asking.
about that.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
I always use non-photo pencil because 99% of what I do is for reproduction, or you know maybe even if it's just me being
yep,
like, well, maybe this piece of my sketchbook will make a cool sticker later. So you know,
right.
and for anyone who hasn't done it, if there's anyone out there, any artists out there who are like wondering what's up with that, maybe I should try it. It's like a 3-step process. You do your piece, you use blue pencil, and then you scan it, you take it into Photoshop, and you hit that black and white filter, and you slide the cyan all the way up, and it's gone. Like you don't have to fuck around with curves, levels. You don't have to be using your tablet and try and brush out pencil marks. Like it is gone, and it leaves only the ink. So it's really that's something I started doing. I don't even
That's
honestly
cool.
know who introduced it to me, but like 7 years ago, and it makes things a lot easier.
So do you use a specific um kind of blue because I have like a blue pencil I started messing with today just because I was inspired by your work like that. And this is just a colored pencil that really, like, it's a master's touch colored pencil, like all the way through, like solid, no pour.
Yeah, interesting. I got
what is it that you...
The nubby. I use the Statler non-photo blue, so
got you.
They're available at most.
Right, and you have like a pencil holder when it gets small.
Yeah, and I do got a little tape on it to make it
nice.
Stay. But
I used to do that a long time ago when I was in college. I would use non-photo blue, and then I learned how to extract a black line, and I've never looked back. And I started using pencil again, but I'm starting to feel like the way that I want to work, the way that I want to study certain pieces of things, like certain aspects of nature, aspects of the human anatomy, all these different like plants and fungi and whatnot, I feel like it's not easy to decipher what line is what when you're just using pencil. And I almost feel like I want to use more than one color. Have you ever done more than one color to map things out?
I have, but only when I'm like sketching on like a tablet. Like I do use my iPad for some stuff, for certain applications. Like I got it recently, and I fuck around with it a little bit.
Sure.
It's mostly just for preliminary stuff though. So like on a finished piece, like I haven't really. Is that something you've done a lot of, or are you just starting to get into that?
No, I actually just messed around with it today because I've got like weird tendrily, like goopy roots coming out of a nightgown, and like emanating from this carcass of a rodent, and I wanted to get the folds right in the nightgown, so I have that in blue and the tendrils in green, and I figured like it might help me to like understand which is which, but eventually I'll have to mark it all so that it blocks wherever it's going to sit in front of and wherever it's going to go behind, and it's an intricate process.
It's it's such a like process for all of us, like slowly working out like the things that work, and then like sometimes when you come up on something like that and you're like, oh man, this really is a fucking good idea, it could change, it could have a big effect on your process, the way you do a lot of stuff, and like those kind of revelations are always that's kind of fun. It's like you can't get too stuck in your ways because a lot of times there is a better solution. Like for me, I stick with just the pencil, and like honestly, I've occasionally posted pencils of stuff on here. Obviously I'm like not great at showing process all the time, but I pencil pretty loose. I just really like leaving a lot of room for the ink, especially when it comes to like areas of texture. I like, because I'm never 100% sure what it's going to be like till the ink goes down, and I like letting that uncertainty just sit and not tracing my lines really exactly. So like a lot of my penciling is pretty loose, and sometimes it doesn't work the way I wanted, but most of the time, like at this point, I kind of know the areas that need to be tighter and the areas that can be looser, and I kind of pencil accordingly. Where a lot of the shit that I submit for approval to clients, I'll be like, use your imagination a little bit. There's just big areas where it's just kind of like really kind of sketched in, but like the important parts will be more dialed in, especially when it comes to like faces, hands, areas of like difficult texture or perspective. Like I always pencil a lot tighter, but if there's just vegetation, it's just like 5 seconds of me just like no.
So I wanted to talk to you about reference. How often do you use reference?
A lot. And Mark, I'll answer that in a sec. I do use references a pretty fair amount. Like I think like there's kind of two components, like when it comes to reference to, like I rarely am like really one-to-one like trying to copy an exact
pose
or and I don't even necessarily mean like lifting something, but even like taking a reference photo or a stock photo or whatever, I'm like unless it's like a difficult angle or something I'm not really familiar with drawing, like I don't use a lot of references. I'll get a couple in mind and I'll kind of refer to them sometimes.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
like,
that's the way it goes. It's just how you develop.
Yeah.
It's how you put out your style. That's your style, is the way
right,
that
exactly.
you take in that understanding of that image and interpret it in your way. So
yeah,
for
sure.
Yeah.
And part of it is kind of like, you know, not, and I'll kind of, this is like a little bit of a qualifier, not in the sense of like trying deliberately to copy any work, any style, but in like a fucking like chaos magic sense of like trying to inhabit kind of the headspace of another artist or somebody. Like straight up, like there are times when like Mark, I'm thinking, I'm like, man, what would fucking Riddick do here? And it kind of helps me move forward. What would Florian Bertmer do here? What would Archon do here? You know, like where I'm just trying to, I'm thinking about things from that angle, and I'm taking an approach and trying to like take somebody else's you know, approach or headspace and not copy anything they've done and not deliberately emulate their style, but approach it from that particular viewpoint. And that to me is like something that I've kind of like, you know, that when it comes to art, like you don't, you know, there's a lot of people that like copy shit, you know, there's a lot of people that are out there just trying to like basically take something that somebody else has done, and like I'm not gonna bitch about that. That's,
no,
like,
trust me, I know
that's
exactly
the entire
what
history of art.
About. Every artist does.
that's
some
the entire
people
history of
don't
art.
mind it, and some people, you know, some people definitely have an issue with it. And I mean, it's unfortunately that's just the way like things go. Like certain people want to do exactly what they see because they like think it's something. I mean, I can't really explain it because I'm not doing it myself. I never want to come off like someone else's style, but that's really awesome that you can walk that line where you're like, what would Riddick do, or what would Florian Bertmer do? Like, you know, like to be able to almost like refer to what you've seen them do and be like, yeah, how would this be accomplished? But I'll do it in my style. You know what I mean?
It's about having the confidence in your own style to be able to kind of take that and then and kind of do it in a subconscious manner, you know. And there are like little elements of style where you look at stuff like Matt Putrid has done so much stuff with like, and he has these really fucking expressive like brushes and splatters and like all these fucking textures that are when I first found his shit, I was like, God, like he has such a good combination of like tight and then loose, and so having some of that stuff, and like so there's stuff that I've done and I've been like, man, I really like that. Like I'm gonna start incorporating some of that like dry brushed like fog texture into my work, or some splatters into my work and that kind of thing. Or like, oh man, like I really like how fucking, you know, Horky did these flames on this illustration. I'm like, I should try fucking around with that. And so you can pick out, it's like Future fucking owns that brush. You can pick out little elements of style and then you make them yours. And that's how we all operate. Like I think that like for a lot of artists starting out, like they feel like all of us are just making this shit out of completely a totally blank canvas, and we're all just sitting in a room, never referring to or taking influence from other stuff around us. And it's like, no, completely the opposite. We're all always grabbing things from each other. But the important thing is that you're putting your original spin on it. You're using your own imagination, and you're kind of taking a technique or an inspiration, and you're not just ripping somebody off. And like, yeah, man, absolutely. We learn from each other. Yeah. So Mark had a question about what I'm working on right now. Stuff that I could talk about right now. You know, I just finished a big mural, which I showed a couple of progress pics on a couple of stories, but trying to get a better photo of it. But that was a lot of fun. I did that last month.
How big is it?
40 feet. It's the biggest mural I've done. Is fucking massive. But
so are you using like paint rollers and big brushes and stuff?
I just rolled out the background, but like brushes. You know, I brushed the whole thing, so it took a while.
Did you pencil it in, project it? How'd you
chalk? So I had like I took the nice thing about the iPad, like, you know, living in the future, like having a picture and then being able to go and Procreate and sketch a loose sketch over the photograph, and then using that as a reference. Take chalk, you know, went out, cleaned up, rolled out the wall, got the scaffoldings in place and everything. I go and I chalk in kind of the main things, but like again, I'm pretty loose, and unfortunately the nature of what I did was like it was kind of loose. It's a bunch of little shit, you know, spread across this big wall. So I'm not gridding out like a big, you know, thing. I'm just like doing, all the individual components were small enough that I could kind of step back and, you know, chalk it and then go, you know, every once in a while take a step back. But like, so it was kind of a loose process for a big mural like that, but it's fun. It kicked my fucking ass, physically.
Yeah, it
man.
sounds really labor intensive, like a lot of climbing up and down scaffolding.
Dude, I've like sore in places that I have not used in like decades. I felt so old. I was just like, God, like like adult fucking jungle gym. Yeah, I was stretching and I was getting in there. I was like, fuck, dude, like day 2, I was in there like spending like 10 minutes. Like everyone in the workshop is like working around me and I'm here like doing calisthenics, like bending over, stretching.
Nice. It's important, man.
Yeah, but I did that. I'm always working on, you know, album artwork and stuff. So I got, dude from Nebraska is working on stuff for his label right now. I don't want to like, I'm going to be vague about all this because a lot of it hasn't been announced yet, but like, some cool, you know, album art, with like kind of a political bend on it. It's going to be like a really fun project. Working on something with Ogma Brewing in Michigan. I've done a bunch of work for them.
They're getting ready to open. I made a t-shirt design for them.
Yeah. I just did a label for them. They did. Thank you, commenter. I just did, you know, a label for them. They did a collab with Dark Horse Brewing. So beer labels also, worked with Wake Brewing recently. They haven't released it yet, but doing some of that shit. I'm working on a little shirt design for Ogma for their grand opening, which is coming up, which I'm really stoked about for them. Been working with those guys for a couple of years, and they've really been. It's been a hell of an effort trying to open a fucking brewery over the last couple of years.
Yeah, they've been doing it for the past couple of years. I'm
really stoked that it's happening. Yeah, and I got the beer that they just brewed with Dark Horse, and it's fucking fantastic. It's really good.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, shit, man. Working on something for a podcast, a little merch design for a print shop. It's all kind of, you know, I'm working on a branding project for a distillery. It's like, it's a lot of different kind of stuff. And it's always changing, which it keeps my job interesting. Like, I'm definitely, I feel fortunate to have like a variety of clients and people who give me like a pretty long creative leash. And like, yeah, my shit is really metal. And it's always going to be that way.
That's why we're talking, baby.
There's always going to be fucking skulls and shit.
Yeah.
But like, there is such a, like a good, you know, variety of shit. I will come up with advice later, but yes, it's such a variety of good shit because like I do have everything from like, you know, working on like really heavy shit for like Witch Vomit that I just did the cover for,
sick.
to working on like something that's like, you know, kind of fun, a little goofy, like the Outer Heaven EP that they just put out this week, like the covers thing with the caveman, like,
yeah, that shit was cool.
But I had fucking fun with it. And then to everything from like, you know, a tiki mug design. It's like real cartoony, but is still, you know, in my style, and it still is like giving me, it's like more of a sense of humor a little bit, but I have a sense of humor, so you know, I don't mind drawing shit that I don't feel like I have to take myself so fucking seriously that all of my shit has to be only brutal, only fucking like, dead serious. You know,
I get you.
And that's the money.
Constantly, never. I'm sorry. What?
No, I was gonna say like that's honestly like if you are committed to only drawing the most brutal, intense, fucking dark shit, that's fucking great, and do you and do exactly the shit you want to do.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a lot fucking harder to string together enough work doing only shit in that extreme vein.
That's true.
If you're trying to make a living completely off of doing only that, like I think you have to be willing to bend your style and to accommodate and to adapt. And like part of working with clients is doing what they want to do. And if somebody hits you up like, we want to do a fun thing, and you're like, what if we made it not fun? Like, yeah, you know.
Unless you're like, Riddick, you can just make brutal shit all day.
I mean, yeah, if you're a fucking legend, man.
There's definitely some there's people that are exempt from that, but
absolutely, yeah. Those people have worked really fucking hard to stake out their territory doing that shit, and mad respect to people who are able to kind of dictate.
Yeah,
this is my style and this is how I work.
Yeah, I always feel like I'm not. Like, I'm constantly looking at my work and I'm like, it's not dark enough. It's not evil enough. Like,
I know, man. I know. I kind of do that too.
like, so, I mean, like, yeah, it's part of the reason why I started this new like Instagram, because my old Instagram has like stuff that's just like a little more spooky and not as like weird and gross and like the way that I wanted to go with things.
Yeah.
So I'm embracing that in this Instagram, and like
Yeah.
and then
So if you scroll
obviously
far back enough
decided
in mine,
to
you
do more
definitely-
with it, and it's kind of like where my focus has been. So
Yeah.
that other Instagram is kind of like a portfolio almost of everything so far.
Yeah,
But-
yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. And a lot of times, like, yeah, man, like if you scroll back in mine, you see a lot of like, you know, it's a variety of stuff, and it's always been. And like, I had a job for a long time working for a pizza place out here in Portland. That I was the art director for, called Sizzle Pie.
I was just gonna say, I thought it was Sizzle Pie.
Yeah, and
Been
I worked
there.
for them for a long time. And so a lot of the shit, you know, if you're working in house, even with like the creative stuff that I was doing, it's, you know, none of the shit that they were doing is super metal, because, you know, at the end of the
You
day,
have to cater
it's a
to
pizza
other
place.
people.
You know,
It's got to be marketable to
right,
more
and that's
than just
understandable. It's not like,
metalheads and
right, and
I
it's
get
not
it.
like, oh, they won't let me draw a fucking, you know, decapitated naked chick. Like, it's like, come on, man. Like, of course they won't. Like, that's not even. That's, you know, you
that
gotta.
makes sense.
And the bargain bin LP covers. That's like 10 years ago when I was working at the record store and I had nothing else to do. Yeah.
Okay,
this account,
so is that where the name came from?
Yeah, so my handle is a fucking joke from 10 years ago that I never bothered to change. So it's my name now. My name is Matt Stikker. Please don't anyone refer to me as Bargain Bin or Bargain Bin Blasphemy. That's not my name. that's my IG name. I've had people say like, oh, do you know Bargain Bin or something? Or like, are you Bargain Bin? I'm like, no, because that is not my fucking name. but no, you know, it's still good to like always be drawing. Like, you want to talk about like, I could say my shit, like, for somebody who just posed a question, like advice for young artists, or doesn't even matter. Like, young isn't fucking even into the equation. If you're fucking 50 and you want to get into doing art, do it. Like, you know, it's not about you know, it's about mindset. And my fucking advice is fucking draw as much as you can. Draw when you don't want to draw. Like, that's the only advice that I can really give that is going to make sense, because you can, again, like, the way that people work, some people work better, like, you know, draw in a group. Some people work on their own. Some people like some people are good, like, hey, put on a movie while you draw, like, do something, you know. Some people work better in different ways. Some people work better working from references. There's all of these things that are like, try them all. Like, have your friends over and put on a fucking samurai movie and just have a drawing night, you know, like, whatever gets you to draw, whatever makes it fun for you. Take your sketchbook to the bar, like, whatever fucking keeps you drawing. But the most important thing that you can do is draw.
Do it
when
any
don't
way you can.
feel like drawing. Like, if you're like, man, I'm not feeling creative, fuck that. That's not the way to fucking go. You have to draw.
The other day, I was in that mindset. I was like, man, I'm just like, I'm beat. I don't want to do this. And I went upstairs and I turned the TV on and I was like, I'm just going to get my sketchbook. And I just like sat on the couch and I just started doodling like weird drippy shit. And it ended up coming out really cool, and just using like a black ballpoint pen to like do the lines. Like, I feel like I'm constantly just being like, don't be so lazy right now. Like, just follow
man, it's
through.
a curse.
That's my advice to other people. And I know that I'm kind of a chump at this point for art, but like, especially up against, you know, someone of your stature. I know we're not supposed to compare, but I'm just saying, like, you're really switched on, by the way. Like, your energy is just so up and high. Like I don't feel like all artists have that quality, and it's not easy to pull that energy to make art. And it's truly something to aspire to when I see someone like you that's just like, you're on it, you're fucking in it, and you're doing it. And I know that, like, it's the middle of the day, so you're kind of used to being this switched on at this point, but like, it's inspiring. And it's like, it's like, it's big stuff. It's like, I'm feeling that energy even through the phone.
I mean, it's a mindset that you have to cultivate. And I'm not trying to get all fucking Tony Robbins with this shit, because it's like, you got to do what you fucking enjoy doing. And like, especially when you're starting out, and it's like there's preconceptions that people have about art and about artists and shit. That's like, how are you so creative all the time? Or how do you, and it's like, I'm fucking not. I draw shit that I think looks fucking stupid all the time. Like you know, it's like I don't always draw. It's not solid gold. Like it's not solid gold coming out of here. Like it's about like for me partly like, yeah, when you draw, the more that you draw and the more comfortable that you get drawing and the easier you're able to dip in and out of it. Yeah, you are able to come up with what you are picturing in mind more easily. And hopefully 20 years from now, I'll be that much better at putting, you know, what I can picture down on the page. But like, but it's partly about like why I say like you have to draw when you don't feel like drawing is like you have to put volume out there. Like, okay, say that, you know, you're starting out and only like 1 out of 3 drawings that you do, you know, you like, and you feel, you're like, man, like, okay, like, well, a third of the time I'm drawing something good. Well, man, if you're only drawing once a week, that means like once a month you're drawing something that you feel is good. That doesn't motivate you. That
true.
That doesn't
it's like exercising a muscle. It's like,
but if you draw 3 times a day, that means every day you're doing at least one thing, and that will keep you motivated. You need to feel like everyone wants to feel accomplished in some small way. I mean, that's why we're all fucking on this stupid social media, fucking looking for likes and shit. I mean, but you can do that internally. Like you can get that feeling by just, you know, putting in the time. Working on small stuff. You don't have to, not everything you do has to be a masterpiece. Not everything you do has to be the best fucking thing. This is all front. I'm a piece of shit. I'm an absolute bastard. Responding to the comments there. You have to be on, you know, you don't have to make everything the best thing you've ever done. Everything doesn't have to be your magnum opus. And in fact, like after a while, part of being an artist is that like you start to lose that sense of obligation. And the most freeing thing about doing this as like a you know, I'm fortunate to do it as my job, and the best part of that is that I do it so much that I don't feel anything like the oppression that I felt, you know, 10 years ago, maybe starting out with my art, like where I was like, man, this has to be good. Like, it has to be really good. Like, people are going to think I suck. Like, and it's just like, I don't know, man, I've drawn 10,000 fucking things. Like, what's one more, one way or another? Like, because what you look back on, you know, as I'm sure you fucking know, like, man, you're going to look back on stuff even 6 months from now way differently than the way that you feel about it the moment that you finish it, you know, and the stuff that you don't think is going to hold up is going to hold up, and stuff that you thought was the best thing you've ever done is going to look like absolute shit to you in 5 years, no matter what. You know, so, you got to keep swimming because it's all going to look like crap to you eventually. And that means you're making progress. That's good. That's good. That means you're fucking, you know, evolving and growing and doing better.
Definitely.
You know.
Yeah, man. That's sound advice if I've ever heard some. Like, I'll use that for sure. Like, I feel like last year I was struggling to stay motivated enough to just sit down at my desk or draw at all. Really, you know, what it comes down to is draw enough. And yeah, I can't stress that enough for people that are actually like looking to get started with this kind of stuff. This is why I'm doing this. I want to motivate people that are looking to get inspired and do more creatively. And it's helping me too, you know, because I'm always trying to help I'm always trying to get to another level. And you're a huge inspiration to me. And it's just an honor to be able to talk to you and get in your head a little bit. And I really appreciate how much you've shed light on the importance of just do it. It doesn't matter if it's something that you don't want to do in that moment. You'll thank yourself later. Like that time that you're putting into things might not all be amazing, but some of it's gonna really push you to the next level.
Yeah, that element of it is like time that you spend drawing.
Yeah.
Never ever fucking wasted. There's not a single fucking moment that you're drawing that it's a waste of time. Like that's the most important thing, that like no matter how fucking much you hate the shit that you're working on, great, you learned a lesson. And it's, again, I'm getting all fucking Tony Robbins with it, but like you gotta fucking explore shit and you gotta fucking fail. You have to try and you have to be, you know, and that's fucking, you know, it could be scary for people that
definitely,
you know, and when you especially when you're starting out, for a lot of people, I know it's tough not to compare yourself to other people, but like art just could not be less of a fucking contest. Like you cannot compare yourself, because no matter how good you are, you're just not Rembrandt, and you never will be. You fucking are not. Like, and like the bar is like, it's gone, man. It's in the stratosphere. So forget it, man. Let go of that shit. Just fucking do, and spend the time, man. Like, spend the time.
Yeah.
And speaking of spending the time, somebody asking in the comments about drawing and painting. Like, I have been doing more painting lately, which I'm stoked. I mean, that's based on my clients approaching me about shit. It's been slow. Like, I did an album cover for Stalker a few years ago, which is a fucking great band. Love that album. Actually, it kind of worked out really well. But that the Shadow of the Sword, with like the hand coming out of lava with the sword, and like I think that was one of the first, like, I did a Witch Vomit. I've been working with Witch Vomit for a while, and like a couple of the older ones are like, you know, they could be better. But like, I've been moving into doing more painting shit and putting in the time. Part of that is like, putting in the time there. And like, you have to put in the time with different media too. It's not just about, you know, stuff translates a little bit, but like, nothing is quite as humbling as fucking moving into a new medium. Yeah. And being like, oh man, I'm like learning some of this shit like from scratch. I'm figuring out my process from the get-go again, like kind of getting into painting more and trying to like not, you know, be doing it properly. Like that's fun. Like, honestly, like starting from, you know, like just the process of like any element, like you're talking about using different colored pencils and stuff, and like with painting, like figuring out my process for that, which has been you know, ongoing over the last couple of years. Like that shit is fun, man. It's, you know, I'm here because I enjoy the process, and I think ultimately, like, you have to be a little bit of a fucking glutton for punishment to do what we do. And I'm not like gatekeeping. I just think that like you have to learn to enjoy the suffering a little bit. You have to like learn to like beat yourself up. Not like internally, like I suck, but you have to learn to like get in and take your licks and fail. And then once you start seeing the improvement, and there's like that feeling of being able to measure your improvement is what kind of keeps you, what kind of keeps you going, and being able to look back on stuff and be like, oh, like exactly this thing I did 2 years ago compared to this thing I just did, like damn, I could see I'm getting better. Like, you know, and that putting in that work, like getting to that point where you're kind of pushing your comfortability, getting out of your comfort zone a little bit, which is it's something that I struggle with all the time. Like, it's amazing how much like you can feel uncomfortable trying to do art, like in your own body. Like, I don't know if everyone else struggles with this, but like sometimes I'm just like, I don't feel like doing this. Like certain parts of a thing, you're just like, no, I don't want to do that. I just want to do this fucking easy shit. And then it's like, it looks bad. So then you have to go back and it's bad not to everybody, but to yourself. Like, you feel that way, and you're like, well, that's what you get for cutting corners. And I think that's like what you mean by like giving yourself a little bit more tough love and and getting not in a bad way
over those humps.
There's a line. You have to be your own cheerleader, and you have to like
that's true.
You have to be able to step back. And not take, I mean, mural painting for sure. That's a whole new process to learn. You have to be able to step back and like, you know, critique your work with a little bit of distance emotionally between, and like, it helps. Like for me, like I could say like I work for clients, and ultimately, you know, 90+% of what I do, the vast majority of what I do is for a client. It's a commission for somebody else. And at least, you know, the big finished pieces that I do tend to be for commissions, and they like if the client's happy, then that's the piece. So that already is just like, hey man, I'm just the illustrator. Like, this is ultimately, this piece is for Witch Vomit, and what they want is like how it goes. So I already am like, you know, you, especially when you're working as a working artist, like that's really important to not be super emotionally invested, because if your client maybe wants some, you know, changes or has some notes for you that you disagree with, like if it's going to bum you out, just be like, well, I don't like this piece now. Like, well, I mean, you know, tough shit. I don't know. Like you're still gonna have to finish it. So being able to just have a little bit of a distance there helps. And even in my own personal work, like the shit that I do for my band Drouth, like that's the stuff that I take the most, that I feel the most pressure to create.
Because
it's like
it's yours and you have no actual direction as anyone else commissioning other than yourself.
Yeah,
and your standards are high.
Yeah. And so it's like trying to meet your own standards. So I know how it is. Like you definitely, if you're just doing work for yourself, like no one has fucking higher standards for my shit than I do. But sure. it's best of both worlds though, because being able to do stuff for clients is also like it's liberating in that sense. And then a lot of times clients have ideas that push you in unexpected directions, and a lot of times that can be a lot of fun. A lot of times, like the number of times that I've been art directed into a different direction that, like, at first, like I've done a lot of work with Lurking Class, who are fucking fantastic. Jesse Sketchy Tank is a really fucking wonderful dude, and really enjoy working with him because, like, there have been multiple times where I come up with some sketches for him, and he's like, yeah, man, like, I don't know if any of these are really working. What if we maybe tried like this, or like, I'm not sure about this idea. And I like get back and I'm like, man, I really fucking like that idea. I'm like, damn it. All right, shit. And I'm kind of like internally, I'm like, all right, hell, that kind of sucks. Like, and then like 12 hours later, I'm like, of course he's right. Like, what the fuck am I thinking? Like, like even just like in the moment, I'm maybe a little bit like bummed, or I'm just like, man, I thought we were fucking ready to move on. And then you get the note and you kind of internalize it for a minute, and you're like, that is actually a good idea. We should try that. And then you do it and you're like, yeah, that ended up way fucking better than it would have been if I had just, done it on my own. So like,
that's not always the case though. It could be flipped over. It's not. So
yeah.
It could be
but
like,
you gotta cherish those moments.
Has an idea and you're like, that's not a good idea. Like,
definitely. There have definitely been times that I'm just like, okay, buddy, but like, I don't know. What are you gonna do? And I'm like, I'm a professional, and like,
so you don't tell them like, hey, I would suggest this.
Oh yeah, no, I always people come to me, because they like my work and they want my creative input, and like,
I should hope so.
yeah. I mean, like sometimes people have really specific ideas of what they want. And most of the time, honestly, my clients are pretty fucking great. I get to do a lot of fun shit. I work with fucking skateboard brands and breweries and bands and like fun shit, really fun shit. Like a lot of the stuff that I do is like really like there's nothing else I'd rather be doing. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying
no. It makes sense.
I feel fortunate to be in that position. I really do.
In getting to what you want to do, and
I'm lucky to be.
That's what you have that passion.
Yeah.
And
I mean, sometimes
makes total sense.
Yeah. And so in that context, like sometimes the ideas that will get pitched are like kind of, like how it is. It's somebody will be like, we either want A or B, like we're thinking this thing or this thing for this, label, for this cover design or whatever. And it's like, okay. And then you're obligated to explore both options because that's what the client wanted. I'm like, you do a couple of takes on them and like, you're like, man, I really fucking like A. This is going to be kick-ass. Like B is whatever. And this is common to every fucking freelancer that's ever existed. You give them A and B and they're like, oh, we love B. And you're like, God damn it. You just like, and you're like, all right, well, shit happens. But that's part of working freelance. And like, I get to do art for a living. So, what am I going to fucking complain? Like, this is my job. So like, I'd still rather be doing it than anything else. And, fuck it, man.
Right on. I think like, I don't know if every artist out there loves the process of making what they make. So I think it's cool that you have that drive and that passion behind it. I mean, I am passionate about the art after it's done. It's a process getting it out though, like making it. And it's great. Like, I feel like, I want to kind of speak for the underdog in a sense, because like some people aren't easily able to stay positive, stay motivated, stay on top of something, stay focused. And it seems like that's not something that shows in your work, like in your ethic and your consistency. And that's inspiring. And I think that
it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
Wants to be like some other artist, but I'm just saying, like, I think that, with the advice that you've given us today, for people that do have a hard time getting through a piece, remembering that not every piece has to be amazing.
And give yourself give yourself little victories, you know,
Sure.
like, you know, you don't have to work at a big scale all the time. You can do so part of a lot, you know, depending on how fucking busy I am, which, you know, varies, but like when I'm not, you know, really crushed, I like to do a sketchbook piece start to finish in a day. I really like that, like completing something and it's small and you can go through my, you know, you can go through my
Yeah, I
Instagram
love.
and a lot
My
of the
favorite
shit
is
that I
that
post.
coffee dump. That's so good. I
Yeah.
love that
Yeah,
like
you
quick warm up sketch. That would take
yeah,
me all
yeah, yeah.
day.
That
That's
kind of
the
stuff
thing. Like
and
it
you
would take me
when
so
you
long.
it doesn't mean that like what is a you know, like a warm up sketch for me like isn't a warm up sketch for somebody else, and
True.
certainly what other people could do as just a little fucking, oh yeah, I just fired off this, like, I mean, you really want to be fucking loud, go check out like Carl Kapinski or Kim Jung-gi or like these guys who will just take ink and draw anatomically perfect like fisheye shit. I mean, like you can find people who will just whip out insane, or fucking curb crawler. Look at his little illustrations and books that he does, and it's just like straight pen on black paper, and you're just like, how the fuck did you? That's like a five
Curb
minute sketch, and
crawler.
it's like, yeah, oh dude, if you don't know that dude, KERB crawler, all one word. Is this Chilean dude? I don't know his name, but he's done work for like Where Goat and some other bands and stuff. But he's fucking metal as shit. I fucking love that dude's work. It's awesome. But like people who can really, you know, I can't pull that kind of shit off. So like giving yourself whatever level is a small win for you.
Sure.
Start to finish. Sketch something up, finish it. Being able to be like, fuck yeah, this thing is done. I did it. Like it's nice to not just be working in little chunks. And so like I do
Yeah.
that. I incorporate that into my workday. Like there are a lot of days where it's like get up, get the coffee in me, you know, answer some emails, sit down, sketch something out, finish it, like do, you know, a full, you know, hour and a half, whatever, like do something, finish it, and then I am warm, my shit is fucking, you know, my hands are warm, my mind is, it's already going, the wheels are going, and then I can shift gears into the big piece that I'm working on, and I can like pick that up and move right back into that headspace really easily without without being like that shaking that morning rust off. And it's like it's a boost, man. It really like gets your it gets your brain engaged with your work, and it gets your reward
Yeah.
center,
It's
you know,
essentially
like
like stretching and
grind.
warming up in a physical sense more than a mental. And I mean
Yeah,
physical in one aspect, but I meant like it's
it's everything
equated
though. It's
to
internal
something
too.
like, you
Yeah,
know, getting
yeah,
getting
yeah.
getting your blood, you know, running in a cold day, or yeah,
Yeah, and it's
get
stretching your
that.
mind. It's warming your hand up, but it's stretching your creative, you know, brain,
Yeah,
and it's stretching up, you know, your, it's kind of priming your whatever reward center of your brain.
sure.
So like, all right, buddy, you got your little pat on the head. We did that thing.
Uh,
Now we're gonna spend 6 hours working on this thing that still has 25 hours to go on it, and we're not gonna, you know, we're neither starting it nor are we finishing it. We're doing this little area. There's not gonna be a whole lot of reward today in the work that we do because, you know, but we're gonna fucking do it, and you got your little reward. So shut up for 6 hours while I try to fucking work, while I put on Last Podcast on the lift, you know, and just fucking
yo,
just
last
listen to
podcast is
shit and
awesome.
just zone out, you know.
Yeah,
A lot of it is being able, like, people, I don't know, sometimes it's like, dude, how do you draw for so long, or how do you, it's like I turn my fucking brain off, like I
yeah,
do. I am not, like, a lot of it is like I'm it's meditation for me. It really is. It's like
yeah,
my biggest like kind of way of, that's, it's so many things for me, like the
sure.
act of drawing and creating stuff is like, it is straight up fucking meditation for me.
Yeah,
So like I'm not always like present in what I'm doing, and especially depending on the degree of, you know, difficulty or the particular part of the piece that I'm working on. A lot of it is like, hey man, if a lot of drawing is just like, and we fill in this part, you know, and there's a stone wall, so for the next 45 minutes you're just doing little, you know, little stone texture, and you're just turning your brain off and doing stone texture. You just run stone texture.exe going in your brain while you're mentally like fucking the, you know, you're listening to music, or you whatever kind of takes you out of the moment a little bit. And that and that's why I fucking love doing it so much, because like it is work, but like it's so much more, you know. And like I also wanted to go back to like my attitude, or, you know, I really appreciate you, you know, saying that. And like I think like what I project here, everything that I'm fucking appearing to be here is a fucking fabrication, man. It's all a way that, and I'm not saying like it's not who I am or whatever, but it is a facet of how I work and a facet of this is the ideal. I'm projecting the ideal here, and like and Instagram and all this shit is a way for us to create a simulacrum of our fucking ideal self here.
Yeah.
And some of us are good at that and some of us aren't as good, but like it's its own kind of skill. Like
Sure.
Appearing to be confident is a skill just as much, and granted with like confidence, like, hey man, appearing to be confident is fucking 95% of it, but
yeah, it's like if it's the same idea as like, even if you're not happy, if you smile, force yourself to smile, you're probably going to feel a little better. But like, I know that like smiling is just a weird thing to be forcing yourself to do.
Yeah. And I mean, it's straight as fuck, but like the whole idea of like, social media, and that extends to specifically to like portfolios, even if we're all, maybe just treating this as a little bit of an extension of our art portfolio. It's you putting your best foot forward. It's the way you want to be perceived as an artist, and it's important for everyone to always fucking remember that like whenever you log on to this shit, what you're seeing is everybody's chosen representation of themselves.
That's true.
Like the map
That's
is
true.
not the territory. This shit is only one facet of everybody's like professional persona.
Did you just say, like, wait, hold on, I want to stop you real quick. Did you say the path is not the territory?
The map.
The map is not the territory?
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
I mean, like, don't mistake the and like this kind of platform is super helpful. Like, I can't, like, fucking professionally, like, Instagram has been, I'll bitch all day about fucking Instagram and Zuck and the way that this shit is fucking
it's annoying you can't edit the photos after you posted.
Yeah, and it's on the whole, like, not great for society, but like it's been helpful for me professionally and also artistically. Like, I will say, like, having the ability to interact with people like you, with Mark, with everyone here, Chloe, all the other people in the comments who've been saying hi to all you.
Yeah. Cheers, everybody, for watching. Clients and really friends and everybody. Your views.
And I fucking appreciate you guys watching and being here and chiming in and like where was I going with that? It's important to like remember that everyone is putting on a certain facade.
Yeah.
And like take from that the good, and don't remember, or don't forget the don't let that shit get you down. Don't let it get you worried and concerned and like, I'm drawing this type of thing and it's not getting the right kind of engagement, or I'm not getting as much traction from this kind of thing. Maybe I should go move into other things. And like, the point of this platform is to keep you coming back to it. Not to make you happy, not to make you satisfied, not to make you feel, because if you feel satisfied, you aren't compelled to keep coming back. So what they want you to do is to keep fucking coming back. And if they leave you hanging every time, if you're always like, oh, I could have done a little bit better, or maybe I should change this or do that, and it's living fucking rent free in your head, then you're playing right into their fucking hands.
Total sense.
Yeah. And take from it, the good, which is that like I can talk and interact to people here that have a lot of valuable insights, and I can see their work and like and it's one spot where I can be exposed to really cool new shit. I still find awesome fucking artists all the goddamn time that are doing really, really cool shit through this particular platform. And so I'm not speaking for fucking Instagram, because fuck Instagram, but like whatever world you're operating in, always remember that you're in control of the shit that you consume, and how you choose to interpret it is up to you, man. It's up to you whether you want to let that shit get you down. And it's up to you to turn it off when it is getting you down, and when you're losing control of how it's making you feel and how it's making you feel about your work and about yourself. It's fucking up to you to say like, hey man, this shit isn't healthy. Like, I got to delete this shit for a minute. I got to back off.
Definitely.
Yeah, right. Stay positive. Get that fucking PMA.
Hell yeah. Always. It's very important. Can't make brutal art if you feel like you're just in a fucking hole all the time.
I mean, you can't stay creative like when you're also battling it. And I have mad respect for people who do.
You can't do that while you're actually actively in a hole and allowing yourself to stay in that hole.
Yeah, and I have mad respect for people who are who struggle and who use art as a form of, their kind of way of expressing their fucking turmoil and shit. And I do too. I for me, it's more music. Like that's kind of more my forum for like kind of expressing some of that.
Yeah, of course.
Fucking angst, whatever. And I have that outlet separately. And like so my emotional connection to art is on like a little bit of a different level to the visual art that I do. I think it's a little bit segregated into or compartmentalized into media, whether it's music or visual, but like it is difficult like to stay engaged with your work and to really fucking push yourself to keep going and improving when you're having a tough time. And so recognizing that you got to take care of yourself, and you got to you don't have to you don't have to live in a hole, you don't have to live in a basement, you don't have to be a fucking constant black cloud, you don't have to live the fucking brutality, like you can focus your energy, you gotta focus your shit. I mean, I think Skinner is I fucking love that dude, and that is the dude who has had honestly the biggest influence on me over the past few years when it comes to mindset. I've met him, I've hung out with him, I consider him a friend, and like he's one of the fucking just nicest, coolest dudes. He has nothing but positive shit to say. And honestly, everyone, probably here is already aware of him, and maybe you follow him, maybe you don't. Yeah. But like genuinely, the dude is a fucking super chill guy and has like the best attitude I could imagine when it comes to taking charge of fucking your artistic output and lifting other people up and just being a solid guy. Awesome. So like shout out to Skinner, because everything that I'm saying, if you guys feel like I'm on the right track with some of the shit that I'm saying, it's like listen to Skinner, fucking watch his videos and stories and shit. He's funny as hell, and the dude is basically saying all this but much better than I can. So
yeah, Skinner's a very positive person. It's definitely been inspiring watching his videos, especially the ones that he interacts with different musicians.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, so that's like a really important thing to remember is that, like, you can't allow social media to weigh you down, which I struggle with a lot. I see a lot of creative artists out there, a lot of really awesome, musicians and artists, and it is overwhelming when you feel like you're just stuck on one little facet of something you're doing for a client or something that you're aspiring to do for yourself. And you're like, man, why can't I be at this level right now? Like, why can't I be more motivated? Why is it that I'm so slow at making this? Or why is it that, I'm not able to focus on certain things as long as other people? And it's different for everybody. And, and I think, like, no matter what, like you said, like that advice is it's awesome. I really appreciate just how you've made this so easy. I didn't even.
You're easy to talk to, man. No, it's and like this is the kind of shit that like, again, like social media is like, it's all of their opinions about it aside, like this is like the only fucking good thing that it's good for, like having this kind of interaction, like you just gotta like, I think for artists, because I know that I talk with people and it's just like, we all deal with it differently, and like as an artist promoting yourself and doing all this shit, like it's a grind and it's its own job, and like I think it's almost easier because we are like, hey, we're selling a product, and the product is our artwork, so there's already one level of emotional distance that you have from, it's not a personal page, it's my art page. So I'm already like, I know that this is only, you're gonna see lots of pictures of my cats on here because who could fucking resist, but you're not gonna see pictures of like what I'm doing on the weekend, because that's not what this is fucking for. Exactly. And I think it's important for everybody to remember that you got to fucking armor up when you go into this, when you set foot in this arena, in this forum. You got to have your fucking armor on. You have to have a layer of, you got to have a way to separate yourself emotionally from the shit that you're reading. When somebody fucking comments some shit you don't like, no, it's not even with somebody. If you feel compelled to comment on some shit, ask yourself, really ask yourself, does anyone fucking care what I have to say? And the answer is 99% of the time, nope, you're talking to yourself. And like, that's fine. Talk to yourself if you feel like you need to talk to yourself. But man, like, fucking almost the entirety of social media is absolute fucking useless trash, and like getting worked up about it and shit is really, it's self-defeating, and all it does is keep you coming back for more, which is what they fucking want. Like, all they want is for you to be live all the time. And
positive
like,
reinforcement in IG, like in Instagram, is something that helps interaction, helps make connections, and helps promote and lift up other people. And it's like a must do thing for me at this point in my understanding and passion of what I do and what I like. I always interact, and I try to be as positive. I'm only putting positivity out there. That's like my number one rule when it comes to social media at this point, because I'm not looking to get in an argument.
Yeah,
I'd rather just keep my thoughts to myself at this point. If someone comes at me, it's another thing, and I try to have a discussion, but it's like
it's not worth wasting your time with fucking assholes, man. It just isn't. Like, you know, no one's mind was ever changed by, you know, no one's trolling comment was ever really, you know, fucking discouraged by by a witty retort. You know, it's just like, yeah, all right, asshole, fuck you. You know, like it kind of, it's like you gotta step into it's a great arena for you know, us to interact and shit. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate you watching, man. Like, it's a great arena for us to all fucking come and hang out and talk to one another and see each other's work and kind of see what's going on. But like, you got to armor up. You got to be ready, because there are literally billions of dollars being poured into this device to manipulate you. Not politically, emotionally manipulate you, to get you to keep coming back, to get you to keep, you know, to keep posting, keep interacting, and they will not be satisfied until you are live 24/7. Like, that's the goal, is and that, like, that's the logical outcome. I'm not saying that's literally what they want, but the logical outcome all the time is like, everyone's live all the time, and it's like, nobody's looking at you. Like, it's fucking trite, but like we're all too busy looking at ourselves to fucking look at you. So step into this fucking arena and put on your fucking armor, because again, billions of dollars are being spent to make you feel bad, you know. So recognize that and sidestep all the bullshit and just say, hey man, not today. Like, fuck this shit. I'm gonna post my shit. Sure. I'm gonna check out what Mark's doing. I'm gonna check out what Fred's doing, and I'm gonna get the fuck out, you know.
Yeah, that's basically how it goes, man. Yeah, that's a good mindset for sure. Armor up, be prepared to just understand that things are kind of set up in a different way that, you know, I mean, you said it. I don't need to reiterate, but I mean, so I usually go till at least roughly like 7:15 or so, enough time for me to like get in my car and drive to band practice. Which, like, I've driven my car, it's parked outside. All I would have to do is get my keys. I'm hanging out, you know, I'm finishing the rest of this beer, and I mean,
is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Because I'm in the middle of my day, but I'm
sure
to be hanging out and talking. Like, is there any shit that I haven't talked over you that you were hoping to talk about? Because
we touched on it, pretty much everything. I mean, I was curious, like, what music you've been listening to lately. You mentioned a podcast with Henry Zabrowski. I'm a fan of his ridiculousness.
Yeah, I love that, dude. Last podcast, man. I love that shit.
Yeah, last podcast on the left is awesome.
Listen. I've listened to the whole damn thing. Like, my sister-in-law just like got her to listen to it, and she was like, immediately was like, this is fucking awesome. Like, it's funny as shit. All those dudes I actually had a chance to do some artwork for them. So if you've seen them live, the like Return to the Living Dead kind of image of the three of them with the tombstone, I did that. They sold some shirts for that and shit too.
That's awesome.
But like, I'm not being paid to endorse them whatsoever.
No, of course not.
I fucking love that shit. But shit. I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts when I'm working, like them, stupid shit. My brother and me. Like,
You ever
Fucking
listen to How Did This Get Made?
How Did This Get Made? Exactly, dude. Yeah, like I listen to a lot of kind of light stuff. Even like the Conan podcast is great. Like
Same.
I listen to some kind of light stuff because it keeps, especially man, if I'm in the middle of like a 30-hour piece and I'm putting in hour numbers 15 through 20, like I need something to take me away a little bit. So I listen to that, but I listen to I mean, it's like a variety of shit also, like music wise. Like I'm always just like keeping it kind of fresh. I mean, maybe people would be kind of surprised. I listen to a lot of metal, but metal is like half of what I listen to. There's been some great shit. That Havakruunu record from last year is still heavy rotation. My buddy who Labored Breath is the name of his band, but that was a really great solo project. They came out last year.
Called?
Labored Breath. Shit, what else, man? Like lately, metal wise, Esoc Trillium. Isak Trillium, and like it's a weird name. It's a one-man project from France, and it's this really weird fucking proggy black metal shit. Isak Trillium.
What's like a favorite death metal band that you like right now?
I like, no lie, that fucking Witch Vomit, the shit that they just put out, that I did the for. It really is their best. That EP is like their best shit thus far, and those guys are awesome. So if you've listened to and dug their shit at all, definitely listen to that, because that's not just blatant self-promotion. That shit is, those guys are really on some fucking shit. Also, it's like half of it is like, what have I done shit for? Because like that's the shit that I've heard, because I do listen to my clients' music. But Apraxic is like a death grind band from Portland here that put out an album. Apraxic, Apraxic. They had an album called Beyond Human last year that I did the artwork for, and it's also fucking fantastic. Enigmatum from Portland, also death metal, just put out a record. Those guys are fantastic, really great dudes. We played with them, and I'm really stoked for that shit. But I listen to a lot of shit, like honestly, like country, jazz, hip hop, old goth shit, alternative, fucking 90s shit. Like I really try to listen to fucking a little bit of everything, I like some pop music. There's like not a lot of stuff that I really don't like, and like, I spend fucking 50 or 60 hours a week alone. I fucking love Rush. I spend 50 or 60 hours a week alone in my studio with my cats. So like I'm constantly listening to shit, and I gotta like keep myself sane. Sure.
Do you ever work in silence? I work in silence sometimes.
I do, and then after about half an hour, I'm like, why do I feel so fucking weird? And then I'm like, oh, because it's like dead silent in here. Like really, like literally, if I'm really concentrating on something, then I will. But I always have shit on in the background. Honestly, I always do. And I just even if I like don't know, I'll go on Spotify and just like hit the like whatever the mix, one of their playlists or something, if I really don't know, or I'll do like a mix of my playlist, because I have all my shit like during the day. Like, I don't know, this is at least my fucking tactic. Like when I'm working and it's just, I want a constant fucking like kind of radio going on in the background. Like I'll put on, I'm like, I feel like metal today, and I put on one of my playlists, and on random, and then it goes, and then maybe like a song comes on and I'm like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, I want to hear this album, and then I put the album on,
Sure.
But like I have fucking, you can follow me if you really want on Spotify. I think it's Stikker 666 on Spotify, and you can see all my playlists. But like, I have like genre playlists that are like thousands and thousands of hours that I put together while I was like working at my graphic design desk job for Sizzle Pie. So like I had a lot of time to kill doing playlists. So I just have these like curated genre playlists, and like it actually makes things a little bit easier, because it's just like whatever my mood is for the moment. Like I just put that on and then I forget about it, But I'm always listening to shit, always. Yeah.
What do you use for like pencil after blue, non-photo blue?
Just a non-photo blue. Yeah.
Oh, just ink.
And then ink wise, like I at one point got a Winsor Newton Series 7 brush, and it changed my fucking life. It's totally worth it. If people are into brushes or want to get a brush, like fuck a shitty brush. Like, look, the fucking $5 brushes at the local store that are just out in the bargain section at the art store. fucking suck. There's a reason. Like you're
The
making
bargain
it harder
bin
on
section?
yourself. Like yeah, the bargain bin section. Yeah, like cheap stuff. And again, like this isn't about. I realize that it's expense is a consideration. But like a Series 7 like size 0 brush is what I use for a lot of shit, and they're like $15, I think. So like it's not like crazy, and you use it once and you're like, oh, this is a completely fucking different tool.
So
I spent years using.
You don't use pen? You don't use.
I do use pen. So I've moved into doing the brush a lot for stuff because I like the different weight you can get, the fluidity, the dynamism of the line work that you can get from a brush and the variety texture and all that shit. But yeah, I use micron pens for a lot of shit, and I use what are the big markers, the Pigma markers, Permapaque, that look like this for a lot of just filling in black areas,
Yeah, wait, what is it? What?
Permapaque.
Permapaque.
Got the chisel tip and I got the bullet tip, and like I do a lot of filling in of black areas with these, and they're pretty good when you're working on a bigger piece.
That's good to know, because I've been I experimented the other day. I made a story post about it. I have a brush tip pen that ran out of ink, and I started dipping it in a fucking ink well.
Oh, nice, man. See, whatever works, dude. That's awesome, because you can get all kinds of. I mean, I have beat up brushes that I specifically use for the texture that I can get with that beat up brush, and like obviously it's a limited, you look at my work and it's pretty tight. The line work is all pretty tight. It's not like I'm doing the most fucking expressive fucking wild dry brushing shit, but I've got tools, I got a variety of shit, and like yeah, man, that like the shitty brush is like a tool that I use, like but the for people who want to maybe check a good
Series
brush,
7.
The Series 7, and I use the size 0, and it really is like the best fucking tool that I've discovered in the last few years. I just started using, do I have it? I lost it. White ink. A friend of mine posted about using white ink, and I used to use gouache, but I did find some like pretty fucking nice. I think it's not Dr. Martin's, but maybe Speedball, like white ink that I'll brush. I also use, because people ask a lot, these Jelly Roll pens.
Yeah, Jelly Roller, what's up? Do you have the fine, really nice, medium, and bold?
Little, yeah, I have a couple different weights of them because they come in different weights, and yeah, I use those. It's a combination of things, like a given piece. Like if I'm any given kind of ink piece that I do probably includes a combination of brush, micron, marker, brushed gouache or ink, white, and Jelly Roll pen. All in combination in various ways.
Yeah.
And like with inking, like it was, for people who maybe are watching or haven't experimented with using white ink, really it really helps you. It's almost like it's not a crutch, but it gives you the confidence to make bolder lines, knowing that you can come and cut them back in with the white,
Yeah. So you're doing
when you feel like
highlights and kind of opening things up just in case.
Yeah, and you can lighten up darker areas, and you can fix shit. Importantly, like look at any fucking artboards.
Do you ever use? I know you're probably at a point where you don't need to, but if anyone's out there that does that's afraid of not being able to go back over, I know that these have come in handy for me. But inking back on top, it gets messy. I've done that too.
I will say that is why I don't use whiteout. I use white ink or white gouache with a brush instead, because you can ink right back over it. For me, I made that transition a little while ago, and it really helps because you can. Excuse me. A lot of times, like there'll be, I want to get like a fog texture or something. And then I want to be able to ink back over it, come in with like a line for it to really, over that, and it's like no issues. Like it isn't like puffy like whiteout, so it doesn't get all like kind of goopy. And,
that's what's kind of happening. I've dealt with it for a long time, but
for like people actually have. Hang on, I've got a great example. I was fortunate to get this rad fucking book as a present a while back, but it's like the Walt Simonson's like original artboards for the Alien comics that he did before the movie at the time of the release, and it scans the artboards and shit, and you can literally fucking see where there's whiteout, you can see fucking, you know, you could see that there's white lines that came in and went over the ink. You could see corrections. I mean, right on the goddamn cover, you could see maybe you could see that's whiteout. Like,
awesome.
Like, don't feel like everything is fucking perfect. I went and saw the Art Crumb's Genesis, the original artboards with the Portland Art Museum some years back, and I went and saw them. All kinds of corrections.
No one's perfect.
Like, no one's perfect, this shit, and even the stuff that you feel that is done by really fucking Walt Simonson is an absolute fucking master. But, like, you know, this is, like, this shit that we do, none of it's perfect, and especially when you're working in ink as a medium, so you got the raw techniques, like, it can be a more forgiving medium than people think, because what you're seeing a lot of times when it's finished inks, especially after it's been reproduced, it's not the it doesn't show the corrections, it doesn't show the process. It was done at a bigger scale and shrunk down, which is how I always work, because you get to cram in more detail.
So you do bigger scale and you shrink it down.
Always. So for an album,
I know people that go small and then they go bigger.
For me, like for album covers, like always do, I use like 16 by 20 illustration board, and I cut it down to size maybe, but so I leave a margin, but like for a 12-inch cover, is always going to be at least like 14 inches wide, so it's at least getting shrunk down a little bit, and that goes everything. How do you scan? I have a scanner, and I just scan it in pieces, and then use the automation in Photoshop to you can do there's a function called photo merge, which is awesome because they did not used to have it, and you used to have to piece it together yourself. But you can go in Photoshop. It's under edit automation photo merge, I think, or you can just control F photo merge. And it will take, if you have two scans, like you scanned the top 2/3 and the bottom 2/3, you just got to make sure there's like an overlapping area, and it will, you select the files, the image files that you want to combine, and it automatically combines those into 2 layers that are perfectly fucking laid over one another. And
this is my scanner.
Nice. Yeah, I got mine right over here next to me too. Yeah. The old Drought. That's an old one, man.
Yeah, it's
vintage.
Definitely an old one. It's an old scanner. Still works.
Yeah, but if you do that photo merge automation in Photoshop, super helpful. And I always scan in at the highest res possible. Also, my scanner, well, maybe not the highest possible, but I'll scan it at 600. So it's always like double size. You always, I mean, again, this is like graphic design shit that if there's one component of graphic design that artists should probably be familiar with if you're trying to sell your work and you're trying to do illustrate commission work for reproduction, familiarize yourself with print resolution and just resolution in general. And it's a little bit tricky.
Resolution too.
And it's kind of weird because it's like it's hard to articulate, and I'm not going to try and explain it here because I don't want to get lost in the weeds, but like there isn't even like a great like online resource for like, oh, here's a website that exactly explains what it is, but basically you just know that when you have a scan of something, it's basically a photograph, and you can always shrink, but once you've shrunk, you can never blow it up. Like, you may think that it's going to blow up, but it's not going to blow up, and it may look good on your computer, but basically, when you print an image, it is going to print at half the size that you see it on your screen, roughly 144 to 300. It's gonna print at about half the size of what you see on your screen. A lot of people kind of struggle with that, and when you're just starting out, and like for artists who don't have any kind of background in print production and like don't really know, it's really important to have a good grasp of what that is, so that
definitely
you know that you are practicing non-destructive editing is the phrase for graphic design, where you're not like shrinking something down, and then because once you've shrunk it, you can't go back up. That
right.
once you fucked with something in Photoshop and you didn't put it on the right layer or whatever, like it's gone. So just kind of having, there's courses that you can get online, there's video stuff, there's stuff on YouTube, there's lots of good content if you know how to look for it, which I couldn't tell you right off the bat if anyone's interested, but like you try and find tutorials and try and get the kind of the basics of that if you are interested in dipping your toe into that. Like, it's
Right.
super valuable. Yeah.
Cool. Speaking of like lessons and things, looking up things, how to like learning how to do things. How did you said you were self-taught. How did you go about learning how to paint, how to draw?
I definitely, I'm not 100% self-taught. I've taken art lessons. You know, I took, I did take drawing classes in school.
You felt like
Obviously, I
you
mean,
had a natural like knack for it.
I took them in high school. You know, yeah, and so it's like, I think, I don't have like a particular recommendation because I couldn't even really necessarily say it because it's just something where I wanted to do it, so I pursued it. And a big thing for me was like, when I was just starting out, yeah, when I was in college, like, or you know, when I was like 19, 20 years old, drawing with friends, like having like a movie night and having friends who were like graffiti writers or just like, you know, had sketchbooks and just like would hang out in a group, and there would just be 4 or 5 of us, and we'd like put on a movie, hang out, like drink a beer, sketch, no pressure, just like draw, do some goofy shit, like, and that helped. Like that may be for some people a good kind of entryway into getting more involved in your artwork. And it's a low pressure way. Maybe some people feel more pressure being in a group, and like I go back and forth about, you know, my comfort level of like working with other people in the room and stuff and the vibe. And I'm kind of a solitary guy, but if it's just a casual thing, it's a good way for people to maybe kind of get started, is to like go to a drawing night at you know, local bar or whatever, like a group meet up, or trying to organize one with your friends. And I know, you know, COVID's like a fucking thing right now, but sometimes that could be fun. And like that was maybe what kickstarted me into taking my art more seriously, from taking it from like I kind of like to draw, and I've taken a few classes, into like, yeah, man, I like, you know, I'm now drawing once or twice a week. Like maybe I should try to get better, you know. And then from that point, it's kind of trying to take, you know, inspiration and techniques wherever I can, watching what people doing, you know, looking at this kind of stuff, talking to people, having these kind of conversations, and like really not being afraid to ask, because like,
Yeah.
Your artist friends are going to be, you know, the most valuable resource that you have. And even if it's just you and your buddy, and you guys both have no fucking idea what you're doing, you're going to make discoveries on your own, and you're going to, you know, reinforce each other, and you're going to learn. It's like, again, like none of us here in this art world are reinventing the wheel. We all
Right.
learn to do this stuff, you know, by a process of gradual osmosis, and to kind of taking in stuff wherever you can. And like,
Yeah.
you know, tutorials, and don't be afraid to use references. You know, I definitely have done a little bit. I feel like I should do more, you know, practice with like photo references for like figure drawing and stuff. But like, get yourself a book, or you know, there's online resources too. You don't have to spend money. Like,
Sure.
you can do it on a low budget, and just try to work on, I don't know, you know, it's like when you want to improve, like, I don't know, you know, everyone knows the stuff that they'd like to improve at.
Right.
And it's just a matter of like having the courage to confront those aspects of your technique that need improvement, and be like, all right, man, well, I really got to learn how to fucking draw hands better. So I'm gonna draw a lot of fucking hands. And like, if you look at the hands that I draw, I don't think I do the best hands in the world, but I have
They
drawn
are hands that
probably
look like hands, man.
25,000 hands. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I have drawn like a hand almost every day for the last 10 years. So
That's
like,
sick.
it's just, you know, like it's part of it's part of like, just accumulate, spend the time, like, don't worry too
Right.
much about that shit. Like, that's kind of what I've always done, is just try to just be drawing. And then, yeah, I mean, if you're drawing, then you're learning. And like, it's certainly not that I'm so self-taught that I just figured out how to do everything on my own. But like, there's ways you don't have to take classes, you don't have to have a degree, you don't have to like go, you know, apprentice yourself to people to do art. Like, art is, it's the ultimate fucking, you know, democratic expression. You know, it's
Right.
it's you know, whatever means you have and whatever method works best for you. So that's always my advice.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's great advice, and it's cool to understand where it came from for you, for a little to open that window and see inside your head for a sec. But
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much what I had out here.
Yeah, man.
Because, yeah, you kind of took it and went with it, ran with it, and I got
a big fucking mouth.
The questions I had on here were pretty much answered throughout.
Right on, man. Yeah, I got a big mouth. I like to talk, so.
No, you're good, man. I appreciate it. I think it keeps people engaged, and I think it's really informative, so it's sick.
I think that's good, man. And again, like, that's Skinner. That's, like, I just try to absorb that from him, is that, like, try and be helpful. Like, I think I like the shit that, I like the stuff that I do, and I like, I get a sense of personal fulfillment out of it, but I care more, like, the most important thing that I honestly think that, like, I could give a fucking shit what people think about my art as by and large, but if there are people that see it and it makes them want to create shit, then, like, that's more important. That's not the goal, and I'm not a teacher, and I'm not, like, a fucking art evangelist, but, like, I do feel like it's really important. It's people neglect their creative outlets too much, and we're taught in this fucking society and culture that like creative pursuits are kind of, like, frivolous and unnecessary, and, like, that's fucking bullshit. And it is important for being a real well-rounded person, and if people see my work and they get inspired, like, that's good. So it's an asshole move for me to, like, discourage people and act like I'm too cool to fucking talk about my process or anything, because I'm not cool. So
I think you're pretty cool, man. And with that, I think we're gonna call it. But this has been awesome. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're in the middle of your day.
This, dude. Hey, my pleasure.
Yeah. I want to thank everybody who asked questions and interacted. Thank you, Mark, again, Riddick, very much. Brian from Noxious Ruin said stay frosty. We will. Yeah. We certainly will.
Thanks, Preston.
Thank you so much to everybody.
Thanks everybody else.
Check this out. I really appreciate it.
Mega Destroyer, Paul, everybody who's been on here, man. All of my clients, past and present, and friends and everybody. And if you haven't, if you haven't been following Fred, man, check it out, because these discussions are rad.
Thanks, man.
You have a really fucking cool guest lined up that I don't think I'm allowed to reveal yet, but a friend of mine who I'm really stoked to.
You guys talked, I guess, huh? Cool. I'm not going to say that one, but I will announce who I'm going to be talking to next week as a special edition of Form Terror Fridays. Episode 6 is going to be hosted in New Brunswick, Canada, while I visit a very special lady. And she'll be a part of it too. And we are going to be going live with Mark Richards of Heavy Hand.
Fuck yeah, that's kills, man.
I'm really looking forward to that. And I hope everyone tunes in that's on here right now. And even more, please do me a favor. Every time I post about this stuff, please share it. Because if you're watching right now, you're taking an interest, help others take interest, because I want this to grow. I want people to be more inspired to do art. I want it to lift everybody up. It's not just about me and meeting cool artists. So
I mean, it's a nice perk. It's awesome talking with you, man. Like,
you too,
it's a great forum. Like, I appreciate it's not an insignificant amount of time. I hope people understand, like, also that you're putting a lot of effort and time and personal fucking work ethic into this shit. This is not nothing. This is like, you guys should all, I hope everyone who's watching and everyone commenting, like, please do follow, continue to watch, and, like, continue to support this shit, because these kind of conversations really can only happen with an audience. So
totally.
Well, I mean, they happen without an audience too, but unless you fucking know me, you're not fucking welcome in my house. So
well, you're welcome in my house anytime.
Well,
man.
you
are coming through Philly. If Drouth is doing anything in Philly, let me know. You can stay at Casa de Spore. That's
man. Hopefully, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Everyone out there, please fucking take care of yourselves and be responsible. Get vaxxed.
Absolutely.
Be patient. Like, it's the important thing, and it's really fucking tough. But, like, please fucking be smart. This shit sucks, and I'm sure there's more than one person in the comments who's had to deal with fucking issues with COVID, and whether it's them or it's people they know, and
Yeah.
it's really fucking people up. And the longer that people continue to fucking deny the reality, the longer we all have to fucking deal with not being able to tour, not being able to fucking,
That's true.
you know,
That's very
hang out
true.
with people. So please fucking take care of yourselves, everybody.
Yep, I agree. All right, on that, I think we're gonna say see you later.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much, everybody. Really
Thank you all.
appreciate it. Thank you so much to our guest, Matt Stikker.
Thank you, Fred. Good talk.
Awesome. So good. Thank you so much, man.
Right on. Hell yeah.
Cheers.
I'll talk to you soon, man. Take care.
All right. Cool.
Everybody have a good weekend.
Cool. All right. That was awesome. Damn. Super enlightening, super inspiring. So much info. So very important to remind yourself not to take yourself too seriously. Make sure you're drawing even when it's not comfortable to, because if you're trying to get to another level, if you're trying to get to a better place in art, you will thank yourself later by staying persistent. And even if everything isn't a masterpiece, something out of that will come. Doors, opportunities will open, you know what I mean? Or doors will open, opportunities will come, and you will feel more confident about your art abilities. And I know it's going to help me, especially keeping these things in mind. I've got several projects right now that I've been getting stuck on, and I've got my own beef with as far as references going so far, with a few pieces and even personal pieces that no one's really even waiting, you know, for other than me and my expectations. So stay positive and stay diligent. Thanks so much for checking this out. This was awesome. Yeah, stay tuned next week. We're going to do Mark Richards with Heavy Hand. He's incredible. Yeah. If you don't know him, check out Heavy Hand Illustration. He also is a tattooer. I'm actually working on getting a piece drawn up so I can get it done on this blank canvas right here. So, all right, thank you very much, everybody. Really appreciate it. And please, when I get this posted, please share it. And when I get the new post up for Mark's art, the announcement for when we're going to be doing it, please share it. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Cheers. Goodbye.